Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing as the Knicks put the beat down on the Detroit Pistons at MSG on a record night from DiVincenzo. Breaks the Knicks three-point shooting record in a game with 11 threes and a 40-piece to go with that. What a night. Who doesn't love a blowout victory against a poor team as the Knicks cruise to victory in this one, 124-99. The starters got a little bit of rest towards the end. Let's get ready to chop this thing up with the best chat in the biz. Salute Knicks Nation. As we expected, great victory as the Knicks took care of business tonight, but I didn't expect us to see a record franchise night, and we got that tonight, so that was a bonus, man. Shout out to the Big Ragu. He's been on a tear this season through peaks and valleys, but tonight, man, he was on it, right? He hit his 10th three-pointer, and that was overruled, a foot out of bounds, and then he had another chance to get 10 and then 11 with 3 minutes remaining and breaks Evan Fournier's three-point shooting record against Evan Fournier himself, man. You couldn't have scripted this one any better. But what I love the most is the big fat W as the New York Knicks now edge closer to 50 wins on the season, man. We go 43-28. Cleveland won today, so the Knicks will be half a game out of third, but a full game over the Magic as we sit in fourth, Magic in fifth. We have a full game between us now, so that's great too. Obviously, the fourth seed is a consolation from third, but it still gives you home court advantage in the round one, and that is important, right? The New York Knicks should not slip below fourth as we continue this buzz. Shout out, squad, coming through the building. Appreciate you all for rocking out tonight. The Knicks put the beat down on Detroit, right? It was a comfortable victory, wire to wire. And Jalen Brunson put up 28 points, 6 assists. Josh Hart with his 6th triple-double on the season. He remains with elite Knicks company. We're going to give out their flowers and the grades. You guys give it out with me like we always do. Shout out Knicks Nation. The Knicks can go 7-4 to hit to 50 wins. I'm buzzing now. That's awesome. Obviously, we head to a mini road trip now against Toronto and against San Antonio. So we need to take care of business. I think we will, the way we're playing, man. And we're going to talk a bit about, some injury updates that have come through the building today with OG, Randall, and Mitch, who's going to be the closest, the first Knick to return, according to reports. Mitchell Robinson, the closest to returning real soon. We'll look at that later in the tonight's show. But of course, tonight's action, man, shout out for the squad. Josh Hart records his 6th triple-double. He joins Walt Clyde Frazier, Michael Ray Richardson, Richie Guerin, and Julius Randle as the only Knicks in franchise history to record at least 6 triple-doubles in a season, right? Tonight was food, and we dominated, right? So shout out to Josh Hart, man. What a season he's having recently as well, especially post All-Star break. Hart's been really consistent, and he's been rebounding and assisting. Has been the most impressive thing for me tonight. He had 6 assists as well. As we break down the numbers, man, the Knicks got 30 assists. Early ball was moving really good. Halftime lead, 59-42. Was a little bit underwhelming. We should have thought that the Knicks would have been up by more than 20, but the Pistons had their best quarter of the night, in that second quarter. The Knicks started the first quarter 36-17, and a 20-0 run in the first quarter helped set the tone as Isaiah Hartenstein was in his groove, finding guys cutting. Josh Hart was laying it up, and then DiVincenzo started to catch fire in that third. He hit 3 3-pointers, and then he was edging closer to the record. Now, with his 11 threes tonight, he's getting so close, right? For more records, right, for the entire season, right? He only needs basically 5 more. 5 more for the rest of the season, right? And he's broken the season record. Tonight, he broke the game record with 11 threes. My God, he's on fire tonight. But the Knicks were finding him, which is great. Obviously, with the rebounding domination, 59 to 47, we had like 3-4 guys in double-figure rebounds, which was awesome. Shout outs, chat, buzzer beater, big task, Kevin, Daniel, Nick Yak, Killer Dogs. What's up, fam? As the Knicks are buzzing. 50 wins is really possible now. 7-4, we'll break it down. But yeah, we head to Toronto now, who are missing Quickly, Barrett, Scotty Barnes, you name it. We're catching a little bit of a break, like we did tonight. The Pistons did not have Cade Cunningham. They didn't have Thompson. They didn't have B. Stew. They didn't have Jalen Duren. And they didn't have Thompson, as well. So, I mean, we could have put out a much, much weaker squad and still won this ball game. But you know what? The playoffs are almost here, fam. 11 games left, and we're going to be sitting here chopping up playoff basketball. I'm ready. And the squad's got to, start to really ramp up minutes. They've got to ramp up in preparation for the playoffs now. Like we're going to talk about with Randall and my thoughts on that situation, why Randall still hasn't advanced in his comeback yet in terms of the next step. But I think the rest of the squad are really, gearing up for preparation in terms of the round one and the minutes, tonight. We had a couple of other records as well, which we'll talk about. Our captain reports Bobby Marks. Jalen Brunson has reached the 65-game criteria now. And Jalen Brunson is eligible, right, for all NBA honors, right? So it's coming, and I'm happy about it. Brunson's eligible starting extension on July 12 will be to sign a 4-year, $156 million extension. So he'll be eligible for that. Does he get an extension, or does he wait a little longer? We'll wait and see. But one other bit of news is Brunson is not Supermax eligible because he signed a free agent contract. So that was what Brunson was thinking. When he left Dallas, he knew that he wouldn't be eligible, to sign, with a Supermax. But he came to the Mecca, and the rest is history, right? A lot of the reporters are reported today. Julius is doing more, feeling better, but not yet cleared for contact. OG was at shoot around, feeling a little better, but still waiting for that elbow, inflammation, to settle down. And Mitch is the closest to coming back as well. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that later tonight. But also some other bit of news for the month of March, the New York Knicks defense. I mean, we hold the Pistons under 100 once again, and your New York Knicks have the best defense in March, right? Defensive rating of 103, ranks first in the league. Opponents' points, holding teams below 95. Shout out. This is through all the injuries as well. A lot of it without OG and Anunoby. So think about what our defense is going to look like with OG and Mitch back, man. Scary hours with that. And opponent's 3-point percentage, man. Once upon a time, the New York Knicks were giving up wide open threes, were giving up too many threes. But here we are, man, in March. The opponent 3-point percentage is just 38%. So shout out for that. Also, as reported on the broadcast tonight, we see the New York Knicks are 38 wins and 3 losses in any game this season where they've led by 10 points or more. Right, so no more comeback against the New York Knicks. No more letdown games. Last season was a few heartbreakers. This season, no more of that, man. Taking care of business. Went up by 10 or more. 38 and 3. Man, sensational, right? And that's what you get with steady play. Steady veterans with Devo, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, right? They don't allow these comebacks, fam, to come against us, right? And tonight we start off with the game ball, and give out the flowers to this man, right? He holds your record holder for threes most made in a game, the big Ragu, man. Making history of himself for himself tonight, man. He'll get the A++ because it was a history night we witnessed, right? Doesn't matter who it was against, man. I don't care if it was against the Washington Generals, right? He has the record now, and he was on fire, right? I love his quick release. He's a streak shooter as well at times, we know. We've talked about it, but he's been so consistent this season in terms of providing offense when we need it, through the injuries and all of that, fam. So let's get it. What are you guys thinking? Vaughn says, I predicted 51 wins. Shout out. Nick Yak says 51 or 52 is more likely to win the games we should, and 60% of the others, fam. Coach is in the building. Finally, Fournier's record is done, man. Amen to that, right? Amen. Appreciate you, Mets, Knicks. We should have been up 30 in the first. Yeah, I think no doubt we could have. I mean, there's some of these games like this you don't take as serious as you should, you know, and that's with the playoffs in mind. I know the players aren't going at 100% to, as Big Tar says, Dante's Inferno, right? Mike Breen needs to trademark that, fam. Yep. And DiVincenzo is another one coming through. That's a great one too. And let's just start at the top, man. Like Killer Dog says, let's appreciate the contract signing. You know, we've talked about DiVincenzo. He turned down more money, you know, to come to the Mecca as well. Obviously, there was a lot of incentives, fan, to play with his boys. But really, he said it tonight, you know, in that post-game interview with Rebecca. You know, he loves the fan base, you know, the best place to play ball, and he's getting paid handsomely, but he's getting a lot of shine, and his legacy is going up, and all the way up with this play, getting more usage, college player of the year in terms of the championship game that season, big game player. You know, I can't wait to see this man in the playoffs because he is all about it, and he's built for it, man. They call him the MJ of Delaware, as Jay Wright dubbed him. And he's going to continue to be big money player for us. You know, we can continue to talk about, you know, he's underpaid. But, you know, that's a thing of the past now. He's signed the 4-year deal. And I'm just so glad he's here. You know, I'm so glad. We've had so many shooting guards that have been inconsistent. You know, we could go down the list, man. Aaron Aflalos, who signed as a free agent. You know, we've had the Fourniers, ironically, tonight, that didn't work out. So many players we gave big money to that did not work out. And this man is like the opposite. He's coming in and he's produced since he got into the starting lineup. You know, basically very, very early in the season. It was like 10 games in. DiVincenzo took on that seat, and he hasn't let it go since, man. He works really well with Brunson, of course, with Deuce McBride now, who we're going to talk about. A quieter night for Brunson and Deuce, but we didn't really need that much production from them, but they still had some great moments. But yeah, what are you guys thinking about DiVincenzo's record now? That we sit here, we witnessed history tonight at MSG, which was great to see for the home fans, fam. You know, also what I feel the best about too is the guaranteed years of the contract. You know, how many times did the Knicks stumble upon a diamond or a gem only for them to hit free agency, and we're like, man, we're kind of screwed a little. But now, no, you know, DiVincenzo is fully guaranteed 3 more years. Now we don't have to worry about a thing, right? We're going to worry about Isaiah, who we'll talk about later, but in terms of his contract. But yeah, DiVincenzo has just been that flamethrower that we needed. So many years we always talked about, could the Knicks have done with more floor spacing, you know? I mean, after that Atlanta series loss back in 2000, when the Knicks signed Evan Fournier, it was with the right intentions because the Knicks needed a shooting guard that could stretch the floor, you know, and deliver from the 3-point line. But the defense, the inconsistency, that didn't work out. and we brought in a guy now who has deep range, quick trigger, and he's built for it, man. As well as the Nova connection. The other connection is that those guys produced in big games, So that's another key. Shout out to the Knicks scouting staff, Leon Rose and the front office for identifying, the man who brings that skill set that this team needed, right? This club needed someone like him that plays both sides, is gritty, and produces in big moments, man. But of course, 11 games left, and then we're in the playoffs, baby, right? Also, this squad will go down in history if we get to 50 wins, because it's been a decade since we've been there, fam, and we've been waiting. There's been a lot of players come and leave since that period. But if we get to 50 wins, it'll be the first time in over 10 years. So this squad is making history. Let's get it. Let's win these next two. And then the equation will be simple, man. It'll be 5-4 if we win the next two. Right, 5-4, and then there's games against, 3 games against the Bulls. There's another game against Brooklyn, I think. There's games against the Heat. Very winnable games, man. Let's lock up this 4th seed at least, but push for the 3rd as well. I'm looking forward to getting that 3rd seed. Although Cleveland won tonight, a lot of their games coming up are tricky. Orlando have some tricky games as well. So out of all of us, I think we have the most favorable, schedule, which is great. DiVincenzo is building his own legacy now. He's becoming one of my favorite shooting guard Knicks. It's only been the first season, but some of my favorite Knicks, John Starks, like Vaughn's mentioning in the chat, Allen Houston, another one. So many great former, shooting guards, backcourts, Clyde, Earl the Pearl, shout out, former champs, and Nick Legends. I mean, what we could be talking about with Devo and these guys after the next 4 years, they could be among the greats as well. Maybe DiVincenzo will break his own record as well. I'd love to see it. You hope so anyway. I mean, he could have played the last 3 minutes tonight, and he could have sunk 2 more as well, as Pistons finally tried to D up towards the end, right? That's the only thing that gets the Pistons to start D'ing up. Nobody wants to cop, a record against them, as well. So, it was just funny how Fournier was D'ing up, on the big ragu, right? So we continue to give out his flowers. He was 14 of 23 tonight, 60% from the field, and 11 of 20 from the 3-point line, man, 55% on huge volume. Awesome. 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. 4 turnovers, 40 points on a plus 21. Right. He may have had 41, 40, 41. Sometimes the box score doesn't update right after the ball game as I pull it up. But he had a 40 piece as well. That's I think his 2nd or 3rd 40 piece on the season as well. So he's becoming Mr. Reliable, right? Once again, you want to see this against great opponents too, right? A lot of these players can do this against Detroit with the usage, but DiVincenzo's done it before against better teams, so he's he's good for it, right? As I said, man, the rebounding too. Shout out to all the guys who rebounded. Precious with 16, iHeart with 10, Josh Hart with 14 rebounds, right? And his 6th triple-double on the season, right? He's the guy we're going to hit on next, is Josh Hart. Another triple-double record, joining Juju Randle, Richie Guerin, Michael Ray Richardson, and other former legends. Josh Hart really, really stepping up since the All-Star break. We're going to give out his shine right now. Guys, what do you think about Josh Hart's play? He must be an absolute pest to play against this man, Josh Hart, all heart, bringing the energy. The best role player in the league, in my opinion. he's going to get the gold star first up because he's a star in his role. The man got paid. The contract extension hasn't kicked in yet. But another guy we don't have to worry about with free agency, right? As salaries continue to go up, fam, the cap goes up. We've got guys locked down, secure here in New York, playing well, and big-time players built for the moment. He's a Knicks warrior as well. He does all the hustle play, the loose balls, the 70-30 balls. He gets after it, fam. Triple-double as well, so he was clutch. He'll get the clutch badge for that. And also, legacy growing with the ball club, right? Made the playoffs last season, second round for the first time in a while. Hart was a big acquisition last season, but this season it was a kind of an up and down start. The 3-point shooting a little worse this season up until the All-Star break, but then it's come better. We're hearing talks that JJ Redick, who mentioned on his pod that he plans to connect with Josh Hart in the off-season. So that's great, and work on the 3-point shot as well. But yeah, Hart continues to just do whatever the team needs, whether it's get buckets. Most of them come running to the cup and cutting. And shout out to Isaiah, who found Josh Hart on a lot of buckets today. But he just knows where to be on the floor, right? Really heady player. Head's always in the ball game. You hardly ever see Josh Hart get caught out where he's napping. He's on high alert out there, and that's what I love, man. He's 29 years old. He just turned 29 in March. He'd only dipped into the playoffs for the first time last season. He was the fourth oldest, most tenured player last season to never play in a playoff game up until he came to the Knicks, and he's ready for the playoffs, man. Best believe he's going to cause headaches for the likes of the Clevelands, the Magic, the Philly, Boston, whoever. Man. First grade, man. Vaughn's given out A+. Salute. Buzzer beater. A+ as well for the man they call All Hart. Josh Hart. Loving him on the podcast as well. I don't know if you guys are listening to the Roommates pod. Of course, your guys with JB and Josh Hart. They had Julius Randle as a guest on, and they've had Isaiah Hartenstein on. They've had DiVincenzo on the pod as well, man. I love how Josh is super laid back off the court. He's chill. I think he suits the vibe, but on the court, right, he flips. It's like it's winning time. He knows what it's all about. But off the court, he doesn't take things too seriously, which is awesome as well. I think it just suits the whole Nova guys. They just suit the vibe right now. They have fun. They've got obviously great upbringings, solid partners. Just good support around them, and and their play represents like what is stability right now. So let's get it. Julian, salute. Awesome game. Yep. We took care of business, but I think the most impressive thing has just been this stretch, fam. 6 out of the last 7, the New York Knicks have won. Like Tony says, man, we're on the route to 50 wins. That'll be awesome for me to get that milestone, man. Right. Whether it's the 3rd seed or the 4th, obviously that is important. But I would just love to say we won 50 games because it's been a long time, man. And it's also a step up from the 44 that year we won with D Rose, I think. And then we made it to 47 last season. And then to increase on that again, that would be the 3rd increase since, Tibbs came in the building as well. We're going to shout out Tibbs and, give him some love as well because, every year we're getting better. We're adding more talent, but it's representing in the wins, which is what you want to see as well, despite the rest of the NBA getting better every year. So, as Vaughn says, 8 out of the last 10. Yep, let's get it. Buzzer beater, we need to go 7-4. I think it's a done deal. fam. We're going to go through the wins and losses later after we've given out all these grades and the shine. But hey, another triple-double for Josh Hart on the season. That makes 6 this season. He's going to get an A+ for me as well. I agree with Vaughn and Buzzer Beater and anyone else who thinks Josh gets the A+ tonight. As we take another look at the numbers and move on to the next hero. For 39 minutes, he didn't need to play that much, but was 4 of 10. 1 of 3 from deep. Swished that one from straight on. That was a good swish. I was pleased to hear that Hart is going to work with JJ Redick in the summer. It didn't work out for Quentin Grimes, who also worked out with JJ, but he's a legend. He can shoot the ball, so that's just a good thing, for Hart to work on his craft. Of course, a lot of these guys have been paid already, but what shows how special they are is that they want to continue to work on their games. These guys, they want another big contract. You got to stay hungry, right? You can never have enough money. And when their next contract is up, right, they want the bag again. Right? So these guys know what it's all about. They want to continue to improve their play in their games. And that's what you love, man. I could see a lot of these Knicks, being here for the next championship team, right? And I think they're building their own legacies now as they've come on board. We've started winning more. The vibes are immaculate, as they say, and we can just continue on this run, man. It's just been a great run. We're going to talk about the Tibbs, the Leon era a bit more as well, as we'll reflect later. There ain't too much to talk about in terms of the game itself tonight. Outside of the records, and the records that are fallen. But with the next guy, man, Hart, 14 rebounds, 10 assists. As I said, that's the most impressive thing for me. Unselfish. You could talk about Hart being a little passive at times because, he doesn't have the jump shot from deep. But what is great is he finds his teammates. He moves the ball. The ball doesn't stick like it used to. That's no shot at anyone. It's just facts, right? The ball does not stick like it used to. We've got multiple shot makers, multiple creators, and connectors as well, especially with Isaiah at the 5-man. He's just been a huge revelation since coming in and playing major minutes and helping the offense flow. But tonight, man, your captain, Jalen Brunson, was a cool, calm 28 points, 6 assists as well. He did his thing, 30 minutes, which is good. Got to sit with 5 minutes remaining. Hit 5 free throws. Still not getting as many free throws as we would like with this new age physical officiating. He was 10 of 20, efficient, 3 of 7 from deep, 37 plus minus in the team high was Jalen Brunson tonight. So there you go. 2 boards, didn't get a steal or a block, but no turnovers. So you love to see that, 6 assists with no turnovers. So that's great. Taking care of ball, handling the offense with ease tonight against Jaden Ivey. Once upon a time was the Knicks' target. Guys, how far have we come? Man, let's get it. Buzzer's going up to second. Let's get it. Plus, I think it's a chance, but we're going to rely on a little bit more on the Milwaukee Bucks to lose some ball games. But hashtag second seed. Let's go. It's possible, man. There's still 11 games left. But yeah, with the Cavs, I think destiny is a little bit more in our fate. With the 3rd seed, with the 2nd seed, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to have to drop a bit of game. I think there's a 4-game separation. What's up, Tay? Who would have thought Tibbs would start an undersized guard next to Brunson when he didn't with IQ? He's making adjustments for that A+. You said it. I agree with Tibbs' openness to add some ingredients to the mix. I think he's always been a huge deuce guy. I think as they say, anyone can kind of be bought with things that they like. And I think with McBride's game, it suits Tibbs to a T. Quickly, Tibbs did like Quickly because he played both sides of the floor as well. But I think obviously Quickly's not here, and Tibbs has always been a big believer in Deuce, as well. So with that said, man, we'll talk about Deuce next after we've given out Brunson's grade, right? And as Buzzer says, Tibbs has matured a little bit more. A lot of guys that play hard, it's an understated thing, but Tibbs will like you if you play hard. You don't have to be a naturally talented defender, right? If Tibbs only liked defenders, then, there would be a lot more noise about it. But he likes guys who at least try, who at least play hard, and give it their all too, man. And ever since a lot of these guys have stepped in, he's created this culture about, buying in, rim reads, finding the teammates, finding the best possible shot, as well. So high percentage looks with the New York Knicks, less isolation, more ball movement, fam. It's been beautiful. I think Isaiah again has been a big key. But look, for Jalen Brunson, I mean, I guess the biggest news tonight in terms of his legacy growing, let's start there, man. Because as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to bring it up once again. This is courtesy of Bobby Marks, ESPN's cap guru. Fam. Jalen Brunson is now eligible for his first All-NBA honors, man, which is a beautiful thing. All the hard work he's put in. He was a first-time All-Star this year, and what a way to cap off the regular season it would be than to get All-NBA, man. Hopefully first team. We sit here, man, he's deserving. We hear guys like Kendrick Perkins say that they wouldn't take nobody in terms of the backcourt ahead of Jalen Brunson. So he's getting mad love now, and I think it's time, man. He was deserving last season, I felt. Obviously, it was a snub. But, yeah, some interesting news that also came through was he's eligible, starting July 12 to sign another 4-year extension, 156 mil extension. He's still got 2 years to run on his current deal after this one. But I think after one more year, he has a player option. So that's why you're starting to hear extension conversations. It was always going to come up, right? But the other thing is Jalen Brunson's not Supermax eligible. So it's a pretty straightforward, deal, man. Just extend him, right? Right. Pay him the most you can pay as soon as you can pay it, man. There's no messing around with this one for me. What do you guys think? He's taken this franchise to another level. The legacy is growing in itself. So that's where we start. On target, right? 50% from the field today. All NBA honors, right? And we're starting to talk about contract extensions, all of those things. Tough feat to match in terms of DiVincenzo's night. Brunson won't get a game ball, but in terms of his grade, 28 points was a team high, plus 27, 42% from three, 6 assists with no turnover, right? I mean, he has to get an A+. Jalen Brunson, man, shout out, another A+, stacking them up. Great to hear that this contract extension talks are coming up, or the conversation is coming up amongst the media. And I think he's going to get All NBA, man. I really do think he'll get no less than second team. Right, he's now looked upon as an MVP candidate, which is correct. He's also looked at as like top 15 player in the NBA. Some have him top 10. The organization kind of bet on themselves too, because a lot of people said in the summer that they felt that Jalen Brunson can go to another level, right? And for some people that was blasphemy, but not for the Knicks. They saw the work that this man puts in every single day, and he treats it like a true profession. Man, he's the utmost professional about his craft. And you know what that means? He's just going to go from strength to strength. When you put in the work good things come. And I think Jalen Brunson will be, a future MVP, quite possibly, man. I think in terms of the rest of his career, man, he'll continue to be all NBA from here on out. I think we're really looking at one of the best players the New York Knicks franchise has ever picked up. When it's all said and done, man, this guy's number will be in the rafters, I think. Obviously, legacies continue to be made in the playoffs as well, right? And based off what we saw last season, right? I mean, he plays through pain. He gets after it in the playoffs. We've got help this time, and that's just going to be great for JB. 30 minutes tonight, awesome. Didn't have to play too much. He's starting to look more fresh, I think. There was a little run where he looked gassed after the West Coast trip. Took a lot out of this man. But I think, the schedule's starting to ease up, right? And we can slide into that 3rd seed, hopefully, and pick up 51 wins. Let's get it. Top 10 for buzzer beater. Yeah, no arguments for me, man. I think he will be an MVP one day. I really do think, we're getting to that point. The guy's only 28 as well, so, he could be in his prime for the next 5-6 seasons, possibly even longer. When you look how good Steph Curry is still playing, man. Let's extend him. Yep, let's give him that huge extension, right? After next season is when he has a player option, so he's still fully guaranteed for next season. But I mean, why would you even wait? It's not like we need to negotiate with Jalen Brunson. Like, that would just look foolish, right? I mean, the man's record speaks for itself right now, you give him and his family security. This is his home. He ain't going anywhere. So why, dilly-dally about, contract discussions and things like that. I think the Knicks will do it quickly, and will take care of him. Fam, as we move along, we'll talk about Deuce McBride up next. The guy has been nothing short of excellent since coming in. This season alone, I mean, Deuce McBride is the 3-point shooting has gone to another level, more than one level, right? He's Mr. Reliable. Talked about the mid-range shot. Did Mike Breen on tonight's call, right? Defensively, he had that name coming in to the league. A lot of people only dubbed Deuce McBride as a defensive kind of player, right? And this season has bucked that trend, right? He's now known as also an offensive player. You know what I saw tonight, guys? I saw players close out hard on Deuce McBride. So that's great for the scouting report, for the offense. There was one play, especially when he a Piston, closed out hard. Deuce put the ball on the floor, made a nice read and kick out as well to a teammate for the 3, right? So Deuce had 4 assists tonight on no turnovers too, 13 points plus 28. Deuce also went 1 of 7 though from deep. The 3 ball wasn't on for him today, but 5 of 12 from the field and 2 of 2 from the free throw line, man. 5 rebounds as well. So look, steady play. The man's playing 43 minutes, 48 the other day. I mean, incredible right now. Hopefully we can ease up, man, and not, put Miles through the ringer in terms of 40 plus minutes, right? I want him fresh for round 1 so that he can cause havoc for the opponent. In terms of the 3-point shot, right, it's devastation right now. I love him in the starting lineup. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, the first guy to be back is going to be Mitch. So that's going to be an easy decision. He's going to come back off the bench, as we've talked about. He even, said himself that's the case. The injury is quite serious. It's been a long way back to the team for Mitch. So he's going to come back off the bench. The starting 5 will stay the same. Where the starting 5 will change is when OG Anunoby comes back, and then Tibbs has got a decision to make, right? As crazy as this might sound that we're talking about it now, but it's a real conversation. Because, Hart's giving you triple doubles, And I do think the sensible decision is to put Hart back to the bench, obviously. Um, but we'll wait and see, right? I think Deuce McBride with the shooting, with Devo, with Jalen Brunson, and then OG inserted, I think that could be special in terms of floor spacing. And put Hart back to the bench. We'll wait and see, I guess, because more floor spacing is just going to be great for Brunson and Devo to get penetration, as well, stretch the floor out. Isaiah can even bring the center out of the paint too, because he does put the ball on the floor. He makes reads, finds guys cutting and all of that great stuff as well. So I'm on the train of keep Miles McBride in the starting five all the way until Randall's back. Right. Even when OG is back, you can push DiVincenzo to the 3, OG to the 4, and Hart's the one that comes off the bench for me. But yeah, we'll wait and see what Tibbs does. We talked about Tibbs' evolution, and we'll see what he does. Because the scouting report, like I mentioned, man, it's changing for the other team when it comes to Miles McBride, because the numbers don't lie. They know he's shooting the ball really well. He's been on a tear outside of tonight. He's shooting with confidence, and that's the biggest thing, man. So first up, man, his legacy is growing with the team. He's got the new contract. He's a warrior, man, on both sides of the floor. We win, 6 out of the last 7, because this man's game is growing right in front of our eyes. He's 23 now, not even in his prime yet. What a steal on the 36th overall selection, right? Took Rokas Jokubaitis 34, 2 spots before Deuce. But from the get-go, we heard that Tom Thibodeau was a huge fan. And I think the translatable skill set with West Virginia, Bob Huggins, and Deuce McBride coming into the league as a player who could defend straight away. Coaches love that. If you're coming into the league, if you're not going to be good at a lot of things, you better be great at one specific thing, so that that can get you on the floor. And Deuce McBride had that from the beginning, right? It was defense, hustle, it was heart. He always got after it as well, even if the scores were 0-0 or the scores were 120, 119. Deuce McBride still plays hard. He never cheats you, and coaches love that, man. So I could really see Tibbs starting to roll with Deuce McBride a lot more now. The role that he is on, right? As I said, he's passing the ball, limiting turnovers, 4 assists tonight, 0 turnovers, plus 28 in his 48 minutes, right? He's a winning player for me, right? Even if the shot falls or doesn't fall on different nights, he still gets after it and makes a huge impact, right? So I'm going to give Deuce McBride an A for today's performance, fam. What do you guys think? Vaughn says, do you see Randall augmenting his game when he comes back to avoid contact and play more finesse ball? Right. Certainly there'll be 2 sides to that, fam. I could see it happening. There'll be the natural hesitation, because, the discomfort or the certain amount of pain that he'll be playing with. But the other thing will be, what's best for his long-term health as well. So, I could see that happening, but I don't see it being too much of an issue, because Julius Randle's shoulder is his right side. He's a lefty, of course. So, the 3-point ball, the shooting, I think should still be great. Maybe he doesn't barrel into the paint a lot, as much as he used to. I think that could be something. Vaughn goes with the B+ for Deuce. Let's get it. Buzzer beater's gone with the A. Shooting guard in a point guard's body. I love his 2-way play. He's got a long wingspan too, 6'8" as well. That's what helps him get deflections, steals. Really, really steady defensive player. Also, the 3-point ball was money in the G League as well. So I think the Knicks had a lot of confidence that Deuce's play would translate as well. It's one thing to play decent in the G League, but it seemed like whenever, and this is going back, probably the last 2-3 years, ever since Deuce was in the G League, right, he would have like monster games, not just talking about, 16 points and things like that, right? He would have 40-point games in the G League, and shoot the ball really well. And I think that gave the coaching staff, the front office, a lot of confidence, that they could continue to work with Deuce McBride, right, and bring him up into the, big club with big minutes. And he's taken his game to another level, man. Third year leap, as they say. Well, I don't know if it's Deuce's fourth year or third year, one of those, but it's about that year where, the players that have that skill set, mindset, that they break out. They well and truly, take their game to another level. Yeah, and he's been a pro for a minute. So let's move along, man. We've got to talk about Isaiah Hartenstein now, because we have given out the grades. We've given out Brunson. We've given out Josh Hart. Actually, I don't know if we've given out Josh Hart yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. We may have glossed over Josh Hart and his grade. We haven't given out Hart's grade, I don't think. So let's bring that up now as we get through it, fam. Shout out the chat. Shout out Replay Squad. What a season, man. 11 games remain. It's been real quick, but here we sit, man, with 50 wins. A real possibility, and I think we'll do it. We've got 2 winnable games. Let's continue this streak, baby. As Josh Hart, man, 6th Nick. He joins I think 4 other Knicks to be 6 triple doubles in a season. What a signing this man has been. Right, Knicks warrior in the clutch. Right, the shooting up and down, but he never cheats you with play. So, I mean, what a hero. Yeah, we did Hart. Yeah, I thought we did. So we'll move along to Isaiah. There's so many Knicks to give out their shine tonight, right? Every single guy is stepping up in different ways. So let's talk about Isaiah next, fam. I appreciate you holding me down. So Isaiah still on the minutes restriction, right? 24 tonight. Again, as I've said, guys, I'm happy about that because it's all about the bigger picture with Isaiah, and not just because we played Detroit tonight. If we played Boston, Isaiah would have still been on 24 minutes. So that's the plan, and it's working well because he looks fresh, he looks spry, he looks ready for bigger minutes, but we're kind of holding him back a little bit, for the playoffs. So he was 3 of 6, 10 boards, 2 were offensive, man, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 2 fouls, 6 points, and a plus 27, man, from Isaiah, the starting big man. He's set to get paid, right? I think I'm still leaning towards the Knicks giving him that deal and him accepting the 150% raise, and it's going to be a multi-year deal, right? I think, there might be a team here and there that offers maybe a little bit more, but maybe those teams don't, entice Isaiah in terms of being, desirable destinations. I mean, let's face it, the Pistons could offer him more money, just like DiVincenzo turned it down. You want to enjoy where you play, and you want to play with players that you enjoy playing with in the market that you want to be in. And I could really see Isaiah Hartenstein just taking the 150% raise with the New York Knicks. Right, he's been money from the get-go. He's efficient, playing like a most improved player. And as I said, man, a warrior, and he's going to get paid the bag. So efficient night again, continues to battle on the glass and be that defensive anchor, ever since Mitch went down. So he's going to get an A for me today, man. Steady as ever is Isaiah Hartenstein. Nick Yaks is A+ from me. Shout out. Vaughn effort. Let's do it again for Josh Hart. Yeah, we'll continue to talk about Hart for real, and we'll talk about Precious Achua as well. In terms of the future deal, man, that is a raise in terms of the bird rights. Yep, because we did sign Isaiah Hartenstein, Isaiah for 2 years, so we have his rights, fam. But he is a restricted free agent, right? So teams can come in and give him that offer sheet, and we can only go up to the 150% raise, right? But it's still going to be an amount where I think it's going to be close to where other teams see him. I mean, let's face it, around the league, who's paying a starting center more than 15 million? I mean, it's a lot. I know he's probably going to let's look at maybe a Naz Reid. I know Naz Reid, the contract with Mini, he got a really good deal. But I think obviously, it's very similar in terms of like the Knicks, what they can get to. And I think, it's a matter of circumstance too. How many players want to leave the New York Knicks now? What we're brewing, what we're doing right now to leave this squad. You're gonna have to either go to a championship contender, another team that's playing similar or better, or it's gonna have to be a huge overpay right now. And it's not like we're gonna shortchange him. You know what I mean? I think the Knicks, deal will be very, very fair, in terms of that. So, and we could offer him a chance to continue to start next season as well, depending on obviously what happens with Mitch, where, the Knicks see him fitting in. We could even continue to split minutes as well. Isaiah could still play a little bit of 4, I believe, with his playmaking. He's getting all the minutes that he needs. It's going to be interesting, man. Michael Drake says 4 year 65 for iHeart. So that's going to be something about, 15 per, 15, 16 per. We'll go through, what the cap experts are saying. The last thing I heard, I think the Knicks can get to about 14 point something. But let's see. It should be the priority though. First thing off season, right? Aside from a blockbuster, all-star kind of player deal that might be available, locking up Isaiah Hartenstein is the first order of business, I think. Right, he is the key to a lot of the play, offensively, defensively. Of course, he's a connector, an anchor, all of that good stuff, man. And he suits the New York Knicks identity right now. Talking about heart and warrior and the spirit. That he's a gladiator with that, man. But plus 27 tonight, 10 rebounds again in just 24 minutes. Right, it's really extraordinary what he's doing. What a pickup, and a long line of good pickups with Big Ragu, Hartenstein, OG Anunoby. I mean, Leon Rose is on fire right now. The Burks Bogdanovic one is obviously questionable still. That deal didn't have a whole lot riding on it though, because in essence it was a short-term deal in terms of cap space and what we could do to flip those guys. But in terms of long-term deals, these Knicks have produced, man. Leon Rose is striking it out of the ballpark right now. And of course, Mr. Achua, who we're going to talk about. Alec Burks did not play today, dealing with some shoulder soreness as well. So that was something that I didn't realize was really affecting him. Now I can understand maybe why his shots looked a little bit off. Maybe he's been dealing with some of that soreness prior to to come into New York, or maybe he picked it up early. So rest up. Hopefully, yeah, Alec Burks is good for the next few games. Hopefully it's nothing serious. We still need some bodies, right, in these next 11 games. Hopefully we can, rest some more guys. Now, the next guy up who is well and truly rested, Achua, man, his minutes have dipped, since we got Isaiah back. OG, is set to return probably in the next week or two. And Precious is playing 25 minutes tonight, a lot of garbage time though. So his regular minutes will probably be around the 10, 15. I think when it comes to playoffs, assuming that he's in Tibbs's rotation, 3 of 5 tonight, and 3 of 6 from the free throw line, 16 rebounds, 5 are offensive, 9 points plus 3, with an assist, a steal, and a block for Precious Achua today, man. Efficient, tick. Not efficient from the free throw line though, so got to clean that up. 50%. I know he's better than that, but 16 rebounds, man, in 25 minutes. A block, a steal, an assist, 9 points, huge for those minutes, right? And we know he's deserving of more minutes, but the luxury the Knicks sit right now, we just don't need Precious Achua to play that much, right? And that's good, because that means we're getting healthy. But what is good as well is Precious is ready to step in when the New York Knicks need it, right? He's the next man up, basically. While Deuce is in the starting lineup, Achua is our sixth man, and he's coming in. He's rebounding at an elite level. Another guy who suits the identity, the hustle play, strong defensive player. He can switch, guard you multiple positions, all of that great stuff. Do you guys agree with me with Precious's situation in the playoffs? Do you think 10 to 15 minutes is about right? I do think Tibbs will go with a 9-man. If Precious is in, it's obviously going to be with 9-man. It'll be Hart and Deuce McBride off the bench, assuming the starters are back healthy. It'll be Deuce, Hart, Achua, and Mitchell Robinson. I think Burks, Bogdanovic, they'll be situational. I don't think Tibbs can play any more than 9 guys in the playoffs. So obviously his starting 5 is Brunny, Devo, OG Anunoby, Randall, and Isaiah Hartenstein. And then your bench will be Mitch, Achua, Hart, and Deuce as well, right? I don't see how he could go to 8. That's going to be tough. If he goes to 8, that means Achua is out of minutes, the odd man out. So that's going to be interesting to see. 9-man makes sense. Maybe Achua steps in for a little less minutes. We know, OG can play the 4, the 3, the 4, even the 5. We know Hart can play multiple positions as well. So we've got a lot of Swiss Army knives for Tibbs to play with them. And we move to Precious's grade, solid A, or solid B for Precious A. Says Michael Drake, shout out. Let's get it. I think, the standout for me is defensively. Obviously, since Precious has come in, he's been a really, really solid defensive player. On the glass, really impressive too. So I'll give Precious an A as well. In those minutes, just light work for him as well, man. I love to see him put up a 20 rebound night. If he plays 38 minutes, he's capable. And look, he's another guy who you have to make a decision about, in the summer, because Precious is a guy who fits this team, and if we could find a way to bring him back, he would be a big priority too for me. Obviously, I think Bogdanovic, Burks, maybe even Jericho Sims and draft picks, and the salary filler could be a package to get you, could get you a guy. And obviously we retain Isaiah first, but after that, if they can find a way to make a deal with Precious, I don't know if he can accept a biannual exception, or we have a little bit of other money available. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. He's reactivated his career with New York, and I don't think he'll really want to go because you've resurrected your career in a place, and it's good. You don't want to risk going to another team and your minutes going up and down. Um, Players want to find a home, just like Devo has found Hart, Brunson, and these guys, and I think he fits into the picture, man. One thing is Tibbs is a huge fan of this man, so I think the Knicks will do what they can, to help bring him back. But he's a guy in the playoffs too who it can be trusted. I think he's earned the trust of Tibbs. Right, if he does get cut out of a playoff rotation, it won't be because of anything that Precious hasn't done. It's just a matter of just odd man out. As we talked about before, man. Deuce is a nailed-on rotation player, of course. Hart, of course, he's not going anywhere. And then Mitch, and then obviously that's 8, right? Obviously, yeah, we're going to talk about Randall a little bit. OG, assuming that they're ready to go. Won't play much if we go 9. Yep, 9-man rotation, says Nick Yak. Won't go much if we go 9. Yeah, Hart is going to play a lot of minutes. I mean, if OG, assuming he's like 90% ready for the playoffs, he's going to play 30 plus minutes as well. And I think maybe Randall might be the one on a significant minutes restriction. I mean, yeah, we're getting to that conversation today. We'll get on it, man. But yeah, Julius Randle not any closer to coming back yet because he hasn't taken full contact. What I think that means is Randle can play right now, right? He's been cool. He's been shooting. He's been taking control contact. But what the Knicks are doing is, because this is a tricky injury, they are waiting as long as they possibly can, right, to test out the shoulder with full contact. Because if they test it out now and bring him back for a regular season game, then that just delays the process. That sets it back as well. So the Knicks are winning without Randall. So I think they don't want to take that risk, right? And I do think Randall could have played. He could play right now. But I think they're holding him back as long as they possibly can, until what is realistically going to be probably the last 5 games of the season, maybe the last 4 of the season, just to kind of get his feet wet a little bit. Because the thing is, right, Randall's legs haven't been affected, right? Cardio-wise, he's going to be running. He's been running, bike work, in the gym, getting shots up, all of that stuff right now. The left side of his shooting form is untouched, right? So shooting's going to be good. He's going to be within rhythm. It's just going to be basically match, the game sharpness, and obviously, yeah, just shaking off that little bit of the rust. But yeah, outside of that, I think Randall only needs a couple games to come back in, get his feet wet. And I think they're holding it back a little. So we'll see. As Tay says, huge priority for Achua. Mitch can't stay healthy. Yeah, that is something that has to be factored in, no doubt. Mitch has missed significant time for a couple of years. I've said that I want us to keep Mitch. I think he's really important to the team, what we do. Obviously, when he's fully healthy, he's dominant. But also, his salary ain't very high. He's on a couple more years. He's on 14 million. I think in the next 2 years are on 14, and then I think it goes to 12.9. So he brings really good value as well. But I think Isaiah Hartenstein has to be also talked about, that he can't stay healthy as well. So together, the plan for me is to keep both, right? Split the minutes. If one's more healthy, one's playing better, play that person more. That's fine. But yeah, Precious Achiuwa is a handy third string. No doubt about it, fam. Also, he's a young player still that we may not have seen the best of yet. See, you never want to let go of a player whose game is growing, right? It's not plateauing. It's elevating with Precious. So he could get to a level where it's like he's starting power forward in this league, right? I mean, Precious Achiuwa is only 24, I think. So yeah, he's really finding consistent minutes, and I think the play is starting to match. When you give these guys more opportunities, you start to see them take it. Right, so let's talk a little bit about Burks Bogdanovic. One of Bogdanovic's better games, as we touch on next. He was the seventh man. Jericho Sims got a little bit of a look tonight, to help us get to the 8-man before the garbage time hit. But yeah, what did you see with Bogey tonight, man? Burks out with the shoulder concern. 18 minutes, 5 of 11 from Bogey, 13 points, -3, 2 turnovers. So 2 of 7 from deep from Bojan Bogdanovic. It continues to be good, bad, and ugly. Hopefully we can cut out the ugly and the bad, or the good can at least be more than the bad. With Bogey, it's still a mixed bag. I see why we're playing him because, we need bodies. He's playing not many minutes anyway, 18 tonight. So that's reduced a little bit. But I think that's cool. I think, again, another guy who's 10, 12, 15 minutes in the playoffs max, come in, relieve the starters a bit, sit in the corner, stretch it out, hopefully make good decisions, cut back on these turnovers, because I think that's something that can be cut out of his game, right? He's starting to try to force it a little bit. If they do close out, he'll put the ball on the floor and then he makes a bad read, a bad pass. So I think he can clean that up. 11 more games left. Hopefully starts to become more consistent. 5 of 11 is not great, but it's better. It's something in terms of points production. 13 points against Detroit, though. Can he do it against good teams? And look, as I said, I think he's out of the rotation in the playoffs. I think right now, if Tibbs is going with a 9-man, if he goes with a 10-man, of course, Bojan Bogdanovic is in the rotation, but maybe he goes with 6 minutes. Maybe something's really small. The turnovers, as I mentioned, he's got to clean up. Look, defensively, he's a liability. We know the offense has to be really good to justify playing him more minutes. But he's capable of knocking down those shots, of course. And all it takes is one big playoff game, one big stretch, where he goes, 3 of 3 from deep, changes the ball game. When the starters are on the bench. But I will say, guys, when everybody's healthy, right, in terms of OG, Randall, with Deuces and McBride's offensive production, the reliance on Bojan Bogdanovic is not the same as it once was. And we don't really need him to play a lot, even if he is playing well, because, right, you assume a guy like an OG, or you assume a guy like a Deuce, Randall, could mix it up and play with the bench when Brunson and DiVincenzo go to the bench for their rest. So, yeah, we really do have a lot of guys who we can mix and match and make sure we have good defensive players on the court at all times, as well as capable shot makers as well, because that is going to be key to blend the right mix, of guys who can stretch it and guys who can defend. Because all it takes in a playoff game is a 5-minute stretch and the game can get out of hand. Or on the positive side, the game can be won, in a 5 to 4 minute valuable stretch. So, yeah, I think what I know from Tibbs is, man, what I've seen is he will have a quick hook in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. If you're not holding your own defensively and you're not hitting shots, he'll get you out of the ball game. He will go back to Josh Hart, and he'll call upon the guys that he trusts as well. So yeah, I'm really not really worried about Bogdanovic at all, right? Whether the trade ends up being a success or not, I think we have enough guys now, and these really are these are the 9th and 10th man that we're talking about with him and Burks. And then, yeah, Jericho Sims, man, with the new braids tonight. Took me a little while, man, to recognize him. But, yeah, that's a good look. Shout out Sims. The play's not that great. Young player, but, yeah, he's the 4th string big man, holding us down with some extra minutes. But he won't be playing in the playoffs either, especially as we're about to talk about Mitch coming back. But yeah, with Bogey, obviously we need him to shoot lights out. He shot a little bit more today, and got his reps in. I'm gonna give Bogdanovic a C+ for today. Just an average ball game. Tonight was a night where his offensive production kind of leveled out his defensive inefficiency. But in terms of the playoffs, I don't think he's going to be a huge factor, right? Maybe from small moments, but we'll see. I think he might go to Alec Burks a little bit more because Burks has that playmaking versatility, whereas I think Bogey's been a little bit shaky. He's been shaky with decision making, right, and handling the rock. So yeah, outside of that, man, we saw Jericho Sims with his 6 minutes, no points, 1 free throw out of 2, 1 point, -5, no rebounds, no blocks, no assists. It was really just garbage minutes, spot minutes. And then we saw Shake Milton get loose a little bit, got us 2 fouls, no points. Well, yeah, he's here for insurance as well. I was hyped when we did get Shake Milton, but that was at a different point in time. That was at a stretch where I thought, man, we needed some bodies. Guys were falling. Injuries were hitting us hard. It was a tough part of the schedule, but things have calmed down now, fortunately, fam, which is great. Players are starting to be more consistent. The wins have started to come. And we're almost at the finish line now. So it's like the mindset right now as I shift towards Tom Thibodeau, fam, we bring up the man, the coach, our coach, Tom Thibodeau, who's about to lead this ball club to maybe a 50-win season for the first time in a decade. And it's fitting that he trumps his previous win total of 47 wins from last season. What are your thoughts on Tibbs this year, right? He's going to get some badges today because, we're hitting towards the money end of the season now. And obviously Tibbs has history with the New York Knicks, right? Here in 99 in the glorious run to the NBA Finals from the 8th seed. But he's also come here for a Chapter 2, man. This was his dream job. He took the job, had some bumpy roads on the way here. In terms of, there was a point where he was close to getting fired, right? And that was reported, as the Knicks stumbled a little bit a couple of years ago. But ever since then, it's been on an upward climb, consistency. As we've brought more Tibbs players, the play has started to become consistent. And his legacy, with the team, I think is growing, right? He's won Coach of the Year with the New York Knicks, taken us to the playoffs twice out of his 4 years, 2 playoff years out of the 4 years. This would be a 3rd playoff run in 5 years as well. So extension eligible. What do you guys think, man? What do you guys think for Tom Thibodeau, his work, right? Adjusting. Obviously, he loves to run players out there more minutes. That's not changing. What has changed is, as you guys said, he's playing more shooting lineups. He's adjusting a little bit with Deuce McBride starting. Went away from the Precious Achua, Josh Hart lineups as well, which were a little funky, as we knew wasn't a good fit in terms of floor spacing. Vaughan says, love his willingness to try different things. I think his offense has improved. His ability to keep the double-digit leads where we used to blow those leads like we were going out of style. That's a good one, man. Yep, that's a good one. Can't disagree at all. That's spot on, I think. As you referenced, as I brought up before and I bring up again, this season, the New York Knicks are 38 wins and 3 losses with a winning percentage of .927 when leading by 10 or more in a ball game this season. That's awesome, man. That's like, not only are we a better team in terms of talent, but Tibbs is doing whatever he can to help the team keep leads and win. Whether it's, trying different lineups, playing the guys who are winning their minutes a little bit more in order to get those wins. He is doing it. But ultimately, man, the legacy of Tibbs will be decided by, playoff success, now championship success as well, right? It's great, all the things that he's brought, and we can't deny it. But ultimately, he'll say himself what he was brought here to do, and what he wants to do is to bring this team a championship, right? And be that coach to do it. And that's the goal now. Every move lining up to this point has been to get us the players that can win with Tom Thibodeau. And that's OG Anunoby. That's rim protectors. That's junkyard dogs that can play 48 minutes, right? Whatever it is, this is his ticket to a championship, because he knows how to win, but he wins it in a certain way. And we have to stick to that, because ultimately he's the coach still, and whatever players we bring in has to suit what he likes to do in terms of philosophy. Rugged players, but the shooting has come a long way from a lot of these guys as well. Hopefully, as I said, man, with this rotation talk that we've been talking about in terms of OG being versatile, he could play some 5. We've got Precious, who could play 5 and the 4. Deuce McBride can start at the 2. There's a lot of options now, and it's going to be up to Tibbs to, as we go through the playoffs, to push the right buttons. And I think, the next 11 games is going to be gearing up, I think, to get guys in rhythm for the playoffs as well. So he might start to squeeze out some minutes from some of these other guys. We'll wait and see. What do you guys think? Bricks Nation in the house, salute. If fully healthy, your playoff rotation to win the chip would be Brunson, Dante, OG, Precious, and iHeart. With the bench unit, Deuce, Burks, Hart, Randall, and Mitch in the playoffs, right? Appreciate you giving us your playoff rotation. I like it. I don't know if that's what Tibbs would look for the first round of the playoffs, but I could see it if Randall's not 100%. The thing is, if he's not 100% ready to start, does that mean he's still good enough to play with the bench as well? That's going to be interesting. But I could see obviously the same thing as you do with Precious swapped with Randall. But that's a great 10-man lineup. 10-man unit. That gives us everything we need: the versatility, the shooting, the ruggedness. And as you agree, interestingly, no Burks, no Bogdanovic. I think questionable at best in the playoffs. Those guys have played losing basketball most of their careers. I mean, that's not a fair thing to say. I mean, what I mean is that the teams that they've been on have been losing a lot, and what they can do in the playoffs is really questionable, in terms of, do you take the risk? A Bogdanovic, right? He's 34 now. He ain't moving like he used to move. And Alec Burks is the same. He's 32. It looks like he's dealing with a shoulder complaint now. I don't think it's anything too serious, but yeah, we'll wait and see with these guys. But with Tibbs, man, I think on the season, it was a B plus last time I talked about it, but with a position to get to 50 wins with all the injuries we've had, I don't think I could give Tibbs anything less than an A as we sit here today on the season. And of course, the playoffs are still to come. That is subject to change. But I think right now, he's doing the right things in terms of getting us into this position. And hopefully the story ends with an A plus, man. We're talking about an NBA Finals run. That would be magic. Right now, let's get it. Right, as we talk about the schedule now and some action around the league, let's talk about that on a DiVincenzo record night as we celebrate. We're half a game out of the 3rd seed as we talk about that, fam. And we'll look at the potential playoff brackets as well, and the remaining games too. We're giving out the player grades, Tibbs, saluting the chat. Knicks Nation, we here. Unfortunately, Cleveland played the Charlotte Hornets today, so that's out of our hands, man. That's not in our control, but we just got to keep winning. So here we sit, 43-28. We are half a game out of the 3rd spot. We have the tiebreaker with Cleveland, so that's good. We only need to catch up that half a game, and we in that 3rd seed, and that means we avoid Boston in a potential second round matchup. So the 3rd seed is really important, but some of the things are out of our control. Cleveland, I'm going to call out right now. I'm going to call out right now all the games remaining that Cleveland have, right? Knowing that we have 11 left, if we go 7-4, we get to 50 wins. With that in mind, Cleveland play Charlotte again, so they'll play Charlotte for a second time in a row on Wednesday, and then they'll play Sixers, then the Nuggets, then the Jazz. The Jazz is at home. They'll play the Suns at home, and the Lakers at home, the Clippers at home, and then they'll head to Memphis, then they'll head to Indiana, and then they'll finish the season at Charlotte. So that'll be 3 times they play Charlotte, man, in 12 games, which is crazy. So I'll go through that again. They'll play Charlotte again at home. They'll go to Philly. They'll host the Nuggets, the Jazz, the Suns, the Lakers, and the Clippers. That's a huge homestand for Cleveland. And then they'll head to Memphis, Indy, and Charlotte. So if I go through it, I think they'll beat the Hornets in the next game. They have to go to Philly. Philly are going to be pretty desperate as we see Philly slide in the standings, man. So I do think the Philly one is 50-50. Hopefully Philly can play a good game. Tyrese Maxey goes off. Look, they host the Nuggets. I think that'll be a loss. They host the Jazz. I could see the Jazz still beating them. That's 50-50. The Suns, I think they'll lose to. The Lakers, I think they'll lose. I think they'll lose to the Clippers. They'll beat the Grizzlies. And will probably beat Indiana. And they'll beat the Hornets. So that's about 5 or 6 more wins. Right. If we win our 7 or 8, I think we get the 3rd seed. I think that's the magic for me, fam. The magic number is 7 or 8 more wins out of the next 11. I think we can really only afford to drop 4 more in order to get the 3rd seed. Right. So that's some sort of a home run for us to think about, fam. That's the magic number for me. 7 or 8 more wins can get us the 3rd. I think it'll definitely get us 4th. As Orlando have a much tougher stretch coming up. So that is that. And then the games today, man. Atlanta pulled off a 30-point comeback to beat the Boston Celtics, fam. 120, 118. The Atlanta Hawks, man, trying to climb up in the play-in right now. And of course, Boston taking their foot off the gas like usual, fam. Interesting that San Antonio won. We play the Spurs after the next game, which is the Raptors. Right, so the Spurs, they're still capable. They've got Wemby, of course. That's going to be a trap game. I think we have to do it. We have to beat them. I think we will win the next game, no doubt. No Scotty Barnes, no Quickly, no RJ Barrett. Right, we should pummel the Toronto Raptors, but it's the Spurs game after that, which is going to be a little tricky. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder as well. And then I'll turn over to April. On the screen right now, we've got April. Then we've got Miami, the Kings, the Bulls, and a back-to-back. The Bucks away, Chicago and Boston away, and then Brooklyn and Chicago back home to end the season, fam. So we win 2 out of the next 3, so that's 2 wins. We beat Miami, that's 3. Out of the Sacramento-Chicago one, let's say we split, that's 4. Milwaukee, we lose, let's say. Then we win against Chicago. And then Brooklyn. And then the Bulls once again. That's 7 more wins. And that's 50 wins there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what I think is our 7 more wins. We could get to 8, where if we beat Milwaukee in their building, I think that's possible. Would love to beat Boston as well. I don't know if that's realistic right now without some of the guys. We'll see if Randall is back for that game. But the Sacramento-Chicago back-to-back, that could be the factor for 8 wins if we split. If we don't split, so if we take care of both of those, then I think we're sitting here with 51 wins, fam. 51 wins, and that'll mean we only have 3 more losses on the season, which is awesome to sit here and to say we won 51 games with all these injuries. That is what it is, man. It's an achievement for the first time in a decade. However, the playoffs is what really counts, right? That's why we do this. So let's look at the potential first round matchups too. David says Milwaukee has some tough ones too. It's not impossible to get the 2nd seed. Absolutely praying for it, man. Hopefully the Bucks do go on a losing tear, but the thing is we're relying on them a lot more. As you see, we're 3 games back of Milwaukee. It's certainly not out of the question. I think if we win out or we lose maybe only 1 or 2 more games, I think we'll really be in with a shot. If we lose 4 more, it'll be tough. I think there's only 11 games left, so yeah, it really is going to be tight. But hey, the 3rd seed, home court, avoid Boston second round. That's awesome. But what is that going to mean, man? That that is going to mean whether we stay in 4, it's probably going to be Orlando first round. Maybe Indiana catch Orlando, and it's a Knicks Pacers first round series, man. Sign me up. They've got no Benedict Mathurin, Pascal Siakam, former Raptor, on their squad. OG Anunoby, former Raptor, on our squad. It'll be the battle of the former Raptors against each other on their new teams. And Jalen Brunson battle against Tyrese Halliburton. Right, the All-Stars collide. And that'll be awesome. I think we have the edge, no doubt. The Orlando series could be a little bit more tricky because I think they're more physical and they're more capable of playing two different styles. They can play up and down with Suggs, Fultz, Cole Anthony running the break. And I think they can also play a little slower than in Indiana with the bigs. Mo Wagner, Wendell Carter, Paolo Banchero as well. So yeah, they can play a slow you down physical series, I think. But I still think the Knicks win in 6. I think Knicks Magic round 1, Knicks win in 6. Knicks Pacers, I think Knicks can win in 5. That's that. And then there's the whole Joel Embiid X factor in this thing, man. I mean, I'm not sold that Embiid's going to be back until it's maybe like 4, 5, 6 games left, if that. So that's a huge risk. In terms of Philly, they're 4 games back of the New York Knicks. So for them to get into the 5 spot, it's not going to happen from right now. I mean, I don't see the Knicks falling out of 4 with all these winnable games, and I don't see Philly winning enough to get back into 5. So I think if we're in the 4th spot, I think it's either Magic or the Pacers. Miami Heat is probably the next realistic option out of that, man. So that's the 4th place scenarios. If the Knicks were to get into 3rd, obviously that opens up a whole new possibility. We would play the 6th seed, and again, it could be the Pacers, could be the Heat. The Sixers could have enough to get into the 6th spot. Of course, it's all dependent on any of these play-in teams making that leap. But hey, my preference, sign me up for a Pacers Magic first round series if we're in the 4th spot. If we're in the 3rd spot, sign me up for a Miami Heat Philly series. Philly, it's time to knock them out, man. Embiid won't be at 100%. We've got 2 healthier big men. Randall will be more of an X factor, but with Mitch and Isaiah healthy, that's going to be key, man. Yeah, Luke, gentleman's sweep against Indiana. Yeah, I think a 5-game series in that one. They're missing Benedict Mathurin, who's a huge factor as well, man. What's good? Get on my level. Salute. We're going through the first round playoff scenarios. I think the Knicks get to 49, 50, 51 wins, and I think that's enough to get us the 4th seed at minimum. And I think 3rd seed, real possibility, will be to face the Heat or the Sixers or the Pacers even in 3rd. 3rd, 6th matchup. Now that I look at it, the Pacers are 2.5 back of the Magic, right? That's going to be tough for them to continue winning consistently in order to catch up. So I do think the Pacers at best will fit in in the 6th spot. Maybe they fall down to 7 strategically. They might want to avoid the New York Knicks and have a puncher's chance against the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, think about it, guys. Think about it from their point of view. Who would you rather face in the first round if you're one of these lower teams? The New York Knicks or the Milwaukee Bucks? The Bucks are rife for the taking, in my opinion. If you're Philly, you're like, man, hell no, do I want to come back and face the Knicks with home court advantage in round one with Joel Embiid on on one knee, and the Knicks have got all these bigs. And then you look at Milwaukee Bucks, and it's like, okay, if we get a little bit of Embiid, that can neutralize Brook Lopez, can neutralize Giannis, and then we've got the guards to go to Dame. So yeah, man, I think the Bucks are rife for the taking, man. For any team that finishes in 7, assuming the Bucks are going to hold on to second, I'm going to suggest the Bucks will probably hold on. They've got a 2.5 game lead on the Cavaliers. That's going to be interesting because the Cavaliers have some very tough games as well. So I see the Bucks holding on, and then the Cavaliers. Obviously, whoever finishes in 6 is going to face the Cavaliers. I fancy the Magic beating the Cavaliers. I think a Heat Cavaliers series is going to be great. I think the Heat advance. Me personally, I think Spoelstra could coach a field day over Bickerstaff. So that's something to look out for as well, man. Obviously, we know the Heat playoff series goes to another level, and we know the Cavaliers are questionable at best against the Cavaliers. Yeah, Nick Yak, you said it. Nobody wants to play the New York Knicks. Yep, definitely. Maybe even some teams give us a cushy ride to get up to third. Who knows? It's going to be a real race towards the end. But what I do like is the Knicks' schedule. As I said before, we have the Raptors next, and then the Spurs. We just got to take care of that Spurs game. It's a trap game on the road. We don't know what Wembanyama is capable of doing, but the Knicks have got to be clear favourites in that one. The Miami one after that, after the Thunder game on the road, is going to be fascinating. That could be a game where I'm expecting Mitchell Robinson to at least be back by then. OG Anunoby could realistically be back by then as well. But maybe the smart strategy is to hold OG out of that Miami game, hold him out a little longer as well. Because just like Julius Randle, if that elbow gets hit again and maybe it flares up again, then we're back to square one, in terms of not being 100% for round one. So yeah, I could see a scenario where the Knicks try to hold these guys back a little bit longer. Yeah, you could make the argument it doesn't do well for the chemistry or for the rhythm, but I guess that's true. But the biggest factor, the most important factor, is health first. If you're not 100% healthy, you're no good anyway. So yeah, health is the first thing to take care of, especially with Julius Randle. And as I bring up, the reports earlier today from the Knicks beat, Stephen Bondy, as revealed by Tibbs today earlier, Julius is doing more. He's shooting, working out, he's taking control contact, but he ain't cleared for full contact yet. And so that, to me, I think is about him just being held out a little longer, man. If he comes back and injures the shoulder again, it's a risk, So I think they'll probably bring Randle back in the second or the last game of the season, I think. And also you give that shoulder more time that it needs to heal and feel more comfortable. And with that said, I think OG Anunoby is going to be the second Knick to return after Mitch. OG was at shoot around, doing some light shooting. The elbow is still flaring up a bit. It's got to calm down first. That is a little bit of a concern, I'm not going to lie. Probably 6 out of 10 in my concern level. I mean, look, it is what it is. It's an elbow, right? It ain't a knee. It ain't an ankle. It ain't a knee, but it's still something to look out for. It could hamper his shooting, no doubt about it. But I think OG is going to be there for the playoffs. He might not be at 100%, but if you can defend, if you can make things difficult, if you can give us 25, 30 minutes, knock down some shots, we'll take it. Right? It doesn't have to be 100% OG to be valuable. And like I said, it's just an elbow. So I think OG will be ready for game one. Mitchell Robinson, more on the positive side. Mitch is the closest to returning. The protecting factor for Mitch is, he's going to be off the bench. He's going to be limited minutes. He's going to be with the bench unit as well against bench bigs. So that's a big factor as well. We know Mitchell Robinson can dominate the glass with the best of them. When he's going up against bench bigs, that's going to be ideal. I think for Mitch, he's going to be able to protect the paint against, lesser defenders, lesser offensive players, and with lesser defensive teammates, with Bogey, Burks, etc. So I think Mitch's value is still going to be huge, and I think he's going to be the most healthy when he gets back. So that's great. 48 minutes of elite rebounding and elite rim protection, fam. So with that said, yeah, even Luke's, you could go as far as to say, yeah, OG doesn't really need to be a big factor until the second round too, fam. As we have a lot of Swiss Army knives with Precious Achua, Josh Hart, Deuce McBride can slot in at the 2, push Devo at the 3. Yeah, definitely, man. OG's biggest asset was that he could neutralize the best offensive player on the other team. And then secondly was his 3-point shooting for us on offense. But offensively, we're okay right now. Defensively, we'll miss OG, but we do have enough, I would think, to win a series still. But yeah, the second round, there's no playing around. We definitely need OG for that second round, fam. And then hopefully clicking by that third round. So yeah, my concern level with OG is 6 out of 10. It's there, but it's not major right now until we hear otherwise. Mitch, it's a big tick. The runway is clear. Great to have Mitch back soon. I think Mitch will probably be back against, maybe against Oklahoma Thunder, which is a home game. Maybe he doesn't play in the next 2 road games, but I think he'll be back very, very soon. For OG, as I said, man, it's very close to Randall. Won't be surprised if he's out until the final 10 days of the season, the final 5 games. OG just came back recently. He doesn't need a whole lot of reps to warm up. I think 5-6 games is plenty. Julius, obviously less than ideal, man. He's been out for a minute now. But with Randall, it's like, we've got to make do with the best that we have, and he's not going to be fully, in rhythm when he gets back. Of course, he needs more time. But the first thing is the health, and Randall's going to be hopefully healthy for, again, the second round, the third round, hopefully by this first round. But, everything we're hearing is that it's still not where it needs to be. It's still not fully, he's not fully comfortable to take full contact. Now, it's concerning because, he's going to need to obviously take contact and bang as a power forward. But as I said before, I do think Randall is capable of playing limited minutes now, and I think they're holding him back as long as they possibly can. So I do think that it's basically a guy who's going to be ready for the playoffs. Whether he's at 70%, 80, 90, we don't know yet. Right? Only he can tell us. I think he will feel some discomfort. I think the positives are it's not his shooting. It's not his shooting side, right? So I mean, his shot could still be money. Obviously he will feel it when he's extending for rebounds. If he's driving into players and he bumps the shoulder again, I think that's probably the biggest concern. I'm not concerned about Randall playing in terms of shooting, defending, all that. it's more likely to hit shoulders on the offensive side. Yeah. Michael says, this Randall situation got me scared of his availability for the playoffs. Yeah. No doubt, man. One thing I like is that they're just giving it the best possible chance. You know, they're not rushing him back. You know, if this extra week or two holding him back could help, then it's the right thing. I think we're winning still, but like you said, it limits the ceiling of the team. I think this season, in terms of we can still win, but ultimately with a Julius Randle, we could get as far as the final dance, man. You know, obviously you're not beating Boston, I don't think, without a Randle. It would be a big upset. But the most important thing is Randle and his long-term health as well, because, again, he's going to have to get surgery eventually. That's going to come in the off-season, hopefully. But if he were to come back and, you know, mess around and hurt the shoulder once again without getting surgery, it could be worse for the long term. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I think again, Randle can still give us solid minutes with the shooting. It's going to be the case of the physicality. What's up, AC? Sims with the new do, trying to look like McBride. Yeah, these youngsters, man. It's a copycat league, but it's a good look. I think it took me a minute to recognize Jericho. I thought it was Jacob Toppin for a minute, ain't gonna lie. I think Toppin had the same look. Vaughn says Randle just has to be a piece and not force anything. Yeah, 100%. I do want to shout out too, a lot of Knicks Nation have seen Randle in the building, warming up, getting shots up. From all the reports, people are saying it looks great, he looks smooth, he doesn't really look like he's favouring the shoulder or pain-free. You know, I mean, it's been a while. You know, he's been rehabbing for a minute now. So I think he's in the gym. He's working out hard. I think, like I said, the cardio side of things, he's going to be fine because he's able to run now. He's able to do bike, all of that. It's just the real game physicality, really. It's like, it's good and it's bad because it doesn't affect his shooting. But the other aspect of a power forward is the physicality as well, fam. So it's look, if I had to pick between an ankle, a knee, or an elbow or a shoulder, the shoulder would be the least worrying. If it was Julius Randle's ankle, I mean, you can't be that effective, you know, running and jumping on a bum ankle. So that's better than last season, I guess. And in terms of the knee, the same. But in terms of the shoulder, it's not his shooting side. So that's a positive. Yeah, you know, let's just stay optimistic that I think Randle will be a factor. Again, we don't know how hard he can play, how good he's going to be. He hasn't played for like half a season now, basically. It's been a minute now. I think we got to ease up on the expectations. But I think the fact that they're doing what they need to get him ready for round one is the most important thing. We can win these games coming up. We don't need to stress on risking Randle against a Miami, against a Milwaukee, against a Boston. Let's just keep Randle as the wild card in this situation right now. Mitch is coming back too. And we do have Precious Achua, who's, you know, wasn't here when Randle suffer the big injury. And of course, Precious Achua is going to, you know, help that spot. Let's hope. That's a great question about why does Randle need surgery still? If the doctors say no damage, he hasn't had any problems. I think it's just a routine kind of surgery from what I hear. And again, it might not be necessary. And it's certainly something where most individuals have a preference in life. They could try to, you know, take the route of not getting surgery and and just letting the ligaments heal naturally, I think, or the muscles heal. And then surgery could be for people who maybe want to have just take the opportunity to clean it up, and go in there and make sure that you're at 100% for the following season. I guess he has both choices, but I can only say on history, and that most people elect to have the surgery, I think, eventually. The longer you prolong it, the doctors do say that there is a risk, I think, as well. Yeah, obviously the body can heal naturally, but obviously surgery is something that could speed up the healing process as well, I think. So let's see how it looks. One thing they'll know for sure is they will, put him through full contact multiple times in practice first, just to see if it can get to that point where he's comfortable and he's producing as well. He'll go up against Sims, Mitch. He'll try to replicate the real life scenario, and that's going to be reassuring as well. But look, for me, it's no longer a day-to-day thing for Randall. For me, I think the choice is clear. They're keeping him out up until early April, which is going to be probably the final week of the season, if not the just before then, right? He hasn't taken that final step yet, which is the practice, which is what Tom said today. And as AC said, we have to wait and see how it holds up in the playoffs too. Randall's game is type of banging. Yep, banging, stretching, rebounding. Yeah, a lot of those things. I will, be very open about evaluating Randall. Be open-minded, because we're probably not going to get the best of Randall and that it was before the injury. All NBA version, right? I'm not saying it can't happen, but we probably won't get that because it's all these mitigating factors. If we do, it'll be a great story. It'll be a pleasant surprise. But let's wait and see. I think I'm basically tempering expectations for this year. Obviously, the moves we've made and all of those things were for the future as well. Randall's long-term health, he'll be fine for next season, so that's great. It's not a knee. It's not a knee ligament injury like a Joel Embiid type thing. That's the thing you really got to worry about, man, with these knees. But thankfully, it's the shoulder and not worse. So with that said, man, as we wrap this thing up, great chatting to the best chat in the biz with this big time win as the big Ragu and the New York Knicks put the beat down on the Detroit Pistons. 7-4, man, is the magic numbers to get to 50 wins and lock up the 4th seed, possibly the 3rd. I think the 7 or 8 wins could get the Knicks 3rd. It's going to be close, because I think the Cavs will probably only win 5 more to 6 more games, right? So that 7 is a magic number for me. But we're starting to ramp up for the playoffs, fam. And the Knicks are 38-3 when leading by more than 10 points. What a season it's been, man. It's been ups and downs, right? But it's how it ends, not how it starts, fam. Tom Thibodeau's made magic out of these props that he's been given this season. And we are set up, right, to make huge noise in the playoffs with these Warriors we have. Let's continue this buzz and get on this roll on the road now. Toronto, San Antonio. Let's get back and beat the Thunder in that game. Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Let's get it on the